I could stay like this, forever following you.
Hi guys, it's Tao from Shine Bright Design, and today we are doing a piece from Jasmine Beckett-Griffith's Fantasy Art Adventure. The reason why I'm doing this piece in particular is because I'm doing some tests at the moment, and what I'm testing is the Daniel Smith Watercolor Ground. And if you don't know what Watercolor Ground is, it's basically a priming pigment that has fibers in it that replicate almost watercolor paper that are absorbent. So what I have done is most coloring books are not made for watercolor. Some are thick enough to handle watercolor, but not the amount of layers that most people would generally like. So my thoughts are, if we had prime surfaces that were absorbent, that could retain, that could be great primer for watercolor material, that would be great. The reason why it works in this book is most of Jasmine Beckett-Griffith's pieces are one-sided. Not every coloring book you have is one-sided. Most of them are double-sided, which is, I don't think is a great idea. I dislike it when coloring books are double-sided. If they're thick enough, sure, that's great. But when you're working with textures and watercolor, you know, you want to have that flexibility. If you bleed through the paper, it's not a big deal. So what I've done is I've stretched my piece of paper, my book piece, onto this is like a clipboard. So it's like a hard wood material at the back. So it's going to stretch the paper. I stretched it with masking tape, the 3M masking tape, and then I painted it with the Daniel Smith Watercolor Ground. I didn't use thick amounts of it, but I did enough. I did one thin layer. I didn't water it down as well, because with this product you're not supposed to water it down, because that affects the outcome of the priming piece anyway. So that's why you notice that this piece is really lightened, and unless you zoom in really closely, you won't be able to see the lines. I can see the lines from my perspective because it does slightly show through, but from film perspective you probably just see like a white mesh of some sort. So this is Pretty Pirate Poly. So what I'm using today is my Mijello watercolor paint. I've done a review on this in my old videos. I probably do something updated, but this is really great watercolor paint, and it's an excellent tray. So this watercolor tray is, you don't see it often in available. It's got the wells in it, and it's got the you know, the tray itself to mix, and it's a foldable, transportable book. It's like that, right? So Mijello is really great quality. These are the Mission Gold. So the Mission Gold is equivalent to professional quality. They do have a student quality, which is called the silver range, I think. I just got some bit of watercolor on me, but I think it's a great set. It is quite dear. I think I spent around $500 for this set, but I still have two paints that I can just refill the wells, and I've had this since 2017, 2016. So it's worth the quality as well. All you have to do is really just fill in the wells with your paint, let it dry, and then you're good to go. But yeah, this was my second watercolor palette. My first one was the Winsor Newton student, the student set, I think, and that was like 24 wells, or was it more? I think it was 36, but that was a good one too, which you can see in my earlier videos. So I'm going to start getting my skin tones, and we'll come back shortly.
I could stay like this, forever following you. Just don't get too far, and I'll be right where you are. You're a dream that I could finally see. I just want us to always be, to always be. Let's stay here, let's stay here in love. Let's stay here, let's stay here in love. I could stay like this, forever following you. Just don't get too far, and I'll be right where you are. You're a dream that I could finally see. I just want us to always be, to always be. I could stay like this, forever following you. Just don't get too far, and I'll be right where you are. You're a dream that I could finally see. I just want us to always be, to always be. Let's stay here, let's stay here in love. Let's stay here, let's stay here in love.
In 187, I'm going in with 225. These are the watercolor pencils, by the way. I will be activating them later on. In with 171. in with 189. I'm going to go in with some white, which is 101, placing that on the nose here, at the T-zone of the nose, and at the tear ducts of the eye, and then also above the Cupid's bow and at the chin. Also going to run this white within the eyes. And then back in with your pinky color, which is the 189, running that on the tear duct. Like so. I'm going to go in with a black, drawing a teardrop. Like so. They say anyone who has a teardrop tattoo, this is a rumor, but if you see anyone with a teardrop tattoo, they say that person has killed someone. But that's just a story. You could just be a very emotional person, and a teardrop is very important to you. But they say people with a teardrop tattoo is very vicious, is very dangerous. And so I saw a little smudge, and I thought, I'm gonna turn that into a teardrop. She's gonna look badass. Adding shadows, like so, going in with white for these wings. Filling in this ribbon on the chest. Going to go in with a 121. Going to go top of this previous red color. Now for the ocean. In with 151, I'm going to bring this waist in a bit, like so. Shading more of the ocean shadow, just blend it out a bit so it's not too sharp. You want to go in with the black again, which is the 199. In with 188. In with 140 at the top. in with a white Posca pen. Or a white gel pen. And with that gel pen, we're going to fill in these little white dots. Alright, let's see if we can create some wave textures with Posca pens. So what I want to do is grab the beige Posca pen, the white Posca pen. Okay, so I'm going to run this line where I think the top of the waves will be, and then where I think the folds of the waves will be. See, my crazy abstract movement. So basically I'm trying to create like splurts of ink moving in that direction. And at the back, the water is more still, so I'm just running some wave lines. In with a blue Posca pen. Let me shake it up. Just making the movements of the waves as if like they're being pulled up, being sucked up into the wave, like so, you know. In with the ivory. And with some tissue, dab, 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 dab. And with some white acrylic paint, or you could use gouache if you wanted. I'm just going to use some tissue. So this is like paper towel, so it's got quite a dense structure to things. And then we're going to go in with a dark blue poster pen. This will be for the back. There we go. In with the white poster pen, we're going to colour in these sails in white. Alright, let's zoom out. This has been very abstract-y, watercolory. In terms of my assessment regarding the Daniel Smith Watercolor Ground, to me, my honest opinion is, if you're doing a watercolor coloring page, the best thing to do is to print on watercolor paper in light grey. Just because if you print on watercolor paper and you use an inkjet, most likely you're going to bleed. That's why I recommend using light grey. I think Watercolor Ground is nice, but there's still a lot of improvements with it. Like, it's not so much like a paper fiber. There's not enough bleed in it. I think this is used also for other things as well. It's not just for Watercolor Ground. It's for like it says it's a paintable surface, creates a paintable surface for watercolor. It adheres to canvas, paper, plaster, hardboards, and non-absorbent surfaces like glass, plastic, metal, etc. Now, in terms of creating artwork like this, I think it's okay for a mixed medium primer, because it also gives you a tactile finish as well. So if you were to do mixed media and use watercolor, ink, pan pastels, or pastels in general, this is good. This is a good primer because it creates sort of like a watercolor paper, pastel paper surface. Like, it's got something rough, not so much of a bleed as watercolor paper does, but I think it would be great for mixed media work if you were to mix combinations of watercolor and ink and pan pastels and what have you. So it's a good multimedia primer. I also think gesso is a good primer as well for mixed media coloring. I have a couple of primers. So I have the Dina Wakley, I got the Liquitex gesso, and I got the Daniel Smith Watercolor Ground. But all in all, I think paper, hands down, is the best surface. If you want to lighten line work, gessos are great. Posca pens are better. And if you're creating mixed media where you're just being loose, like I have been just now, the Daniel Smith Watercolor Ground is a good primer for those surfaces. So I don't hate it. I think it's nice in the terms of the style I've been able to create. I might do the other pirate piece in pencil. So I've done something different because I want a bit of a change. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. It's very loose. There's not so much of a tutorial to it. I probably will do this in one video and just talk it through, because when you're working with watercolor, it's hard to do a tutorial with watercolor, because for me, I use a lot of colors, whereas when you're doing a tutorial, the artist will always work with a limited number of colors, and that way they can instruct you what colors to use, how much to use of, and water, and etc. Whereas when I'm doing coloring, I use so many colors. But if you are interested in the Mijello watercolor palette, check out my channel, type in Mijello, it'll pop up. Have a look at the review that I gave and just about the palette itself. It's a really good palette. I actually really love it. I wish I did more watercolor pieces, and I probably will after dabbling in this. Yeah, so I hope you guys have enjoyed. Thank you for inviting me into your homes. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to use the Faber-Castell watercolor pencils. I don't give these guys enough love, and they are really beautiful. Exactly like the polychromos, but they're absorbent. They're water soluble, sorry. They're water soluble, and it's the same color palette. But yeah, I need more of an opportunity to use them. So if you have any ideas or requests for content, do not hesitate to comment below, message me on Instagram, what have you. But yeah, it's me from Tao from Shine Bright Design. Thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you guys next time. Be you, be true, and shine bright. Bye.